A white pickup truck had been caught in several shots driving behind Mickey. It was clear whoever was driving the car could hold the key to unlocking the whole case.
She was last seen on this surveillance video riding her bicycle home from a friend's house.
Welcome to the second part of the Mickey Shunick case, a chilling case of a missing person. In the previous episode, we left off with Mickey's unsettling disappearance, as the community of Lafayette, Louisiana, and her distraught family searched for answers. Now, we delve deeper into the investigation, where a prime suspect emerges, but the evidence remains limited. Will the authorities be able to connect the dots and bring this suspicious figure to justice? Let's uncover the harrowing details in part 2 of this tragic tale. As the investigation into Mickey's disappearance unfolded, detectives embarked on a relentless quest for information about the mysterious Brandon Lavergne. They cast a wide net, speaking to individuals connected to him. Notably, they interviewed Lavergne's fiancé's father, who revealed startling insights.
The first tip that came in was from an acquaintance that had close knowledge of him that said that he was acting suspiciously.
The tipster also said that on the weekend Mickey went missing, Lavergne traveled to New Orleans and came back with some serious stab wounds on his upper body.
He was telling them that he had been robbed and mugged in New Orleans while he was down there.
Lavergne had repeatedly shared a harrowing story of being stabbed in New Orleans, a disturbing detail that sent shivers down the spines of those who heard it. Additionally, it came to light that Lavergne had purchased a new, identical truck to replace the one he previously owned, raising further suspicion. In a bone-chilling instance, the fiancé's father recalled Lavergne uttering the haunting words, "I didn't know human blood smelt so bad." This chilling detail added a sinister layer to the mounting evidence against him. The investigation into Lavergne took a darker turn when detectives discovered that he had asked his sister to provide him with a false alibi by asking her to state that he was in bed on the night of the event. It was becoming increasingly clear that Lavergne was involved in something deeply sinister. His guilt appeared inescapable when, on June 14th, police received a crucial tip. Lavergne's truck had been found burnt out in Texas, approximately 3 hours away. Despite the attempt to conceal evidence, the truck's identification was still possible, even amidst the wreckage.
Insurance records indicated where in Texas Lavergne said his truck had been stolen. When Bajad called the sheriff there, he learned the truck had been found, abandoned, and badly burned.
We went recovered and brought it back to Louisiana as evidence.
And what's in there?
There was absolutely nothing left. You couldn't even tell the color of the paint.
So if Mickey was ever in that truck, you couldn't tell?
That's correct. The heat was intense.
But Lafayette PD now had Lavergne's license plate number.
Despite the growing mound of evidence against Lavergne in the preceding weeks, the police only managed to secure an arrest warrant on July 5th, and this was in connection to a previous crime he had committed after Mickey's disappearance. A brief search into Lavergne's background revealed a dark and troubling history. He had a prior conviction for sex offenses and had served time for these crimes, earning him a place on the register for these acts. He had also been on probation until 2010.
He had an addiction to using escort services, and his ex-wife spoke of the violence in their relationship, saying that she was often hit and choked by him. The evidence against him was continuing to mount, and in early July 2012, a warrant for his arrest was issued. He was arrested on charges of aggravated kidnapping and first-degree murder.
Upon finally intercepting Lavergne in his new truck, the police made a harrowing discovery. He had information related to the search for Mickey on his phone. This development provided the breakthrough the investigators had been desperately waiting for. It was at this point that they charged Lavergne with first-degree murder and kidnapping. During the subsequent questioning, Lavergne displayed a firm refusal to cooperate and entered a plea of not guilty to the charges. He also remained tight-lipped regarding Mickey's whereabouts. In an attempt to compel Lavergne to reveal the truth, investigators informed him that the prosecution intended to seek the death penalty. However, they offered a deal. If he cooperated and disclosed the events of May 19th, they would consider a more lenient charge. It was at this stage that Lavergne finally began to unveil the shocking and heartbreaking truth about Mickey's final hours. Lavergne's chilling account of that fateful night in Lafayette revealed a predator lurking in the shadows.
There was something else detectives saw on that security video, something much more ominous. Here, just after Mickey cycles out of frame, someone in a white pickup truck drives into frame, following Mickey at comfortably close distance. Now, for the first time, police felt they had evidence. Someone...
As he recounted, he had been aimlessly driving around the city and contacted several escort services. It was then that he crossed paths with Mickey, who was cycling her way home. A sinister plan took shape as he intentionally struck her bike, causing her to fall to the ground. The next moments would be carved in the collective memory of Mickey's family and the jury.
He was in Lafayette much of the night calling escort services, but when he saw Mickey cross University, he changed lanes and turned down St. Landry, following Mickey on her bicycle. He followed Mickey to the end of St. Landry, here between Dean Street and Coliseum Road, where he hit her. The impact threw her from her bicycle. Armed with a knife and a semi-automatic handgun, Lavergne was able to get Mickey into his truck. She tried to call 911, but Lavergne threatened her with the knife. Mickey pulled out her mace.
Mickey was startled by the knock, and while she was on the ground, Lavergne placed her bike in the back of his pickup truck. His next sinister move was to force the young woman into his truck with a knife and a gun.
At 1:46 a.m, after stalking her in his truck, he rammed the back of her bike, resulting in the back tire being crushed as Mickey fell to the floor. Before Brandon could even manage to get to Michaela, she grabbed her mace, and when the timing was right, she sprayed his face with it.
Fear-stricken but courageous, Mickey bravely fought against her captor. She attempted to call for help using her phone, prompting Lavergne to threaten her with a knife. It was at this point that she seized her pepper spray and fought back fiercely. In the struggle, she managed to wrestle the knife from him and wounded Lavergne multiple times. Tragically, the night took an even darker turn. Lavergne managed to seize the knife from Mickey, and in a horrifying twist, used it against her. At that moment, she lay still, and he believed he had succeeded in taking her life. He then made the chilling decision to drive to a desolate field to dispose of her body. However, the determined spirit within Mickey refused to be quenched. Despite her grievous injuries, she regained consciousness, and, with astonishing bravery, thrust the knife into her assailant's chest. Yet, Lavergne still held the gun, and in a tragic culmination of events, he ended Mickey's life by shooting her in the head. It was at this juncture that Lavergne finally disclosed the location of Mickey's body. He recounted how he drove to an old cemetery in Evangeline Parish, where he attempted to bury her. However, his own wounds from the struggle were so severe that he couldn't complete the task. Instead, he concealed her lifeless body beneath branches beside a nearby row of trees before returning home. There, he cleaned himself up, discarded Mickey's bike, and presented himself at an emergency room in New Orleans for treatment of his injuries. On May 20th, Lavergne returned to the cemetery to bury Mickey's remains. He then disposed of her possessions by burning them and, in a desperate bid to erase any lingering evidence, he set fire to his truck in Texas, hoping to eliminate all traces linking him to the heinous crime.
Police in Louisiana believe they have found the body of a college student missing since May.
The information was that in fact this was Mickey Shunick's body that was buried about 100 yards beyond LA 10 down this roadway beyond a cemetery.
Months later, on August 7th, when police conducted a thorough search of the cemetery, they found Mickey's body exactly where Lavergne had directed them. This discovery, while tragic, brought at least a sliver of closure to the distraught family and friends of the vibrant young student.
Officials in that community have not made any statements about this discovery, but KLFY is reporting a body was found today in Evangeline Parish, and police are on scene at an undisclosed location conducting a search that is related to the Shunick case. Back in July, police arrested 33-year-old Brandon Scott Lavergne and charged him with Shunick's murder, even though a body had yet to be found. He has pleaded not guilty to the charges.
Shockingly, Lavergne's shocking confession did not end there. As investigators delved deeper into his history, they uncovered a troubling pattern of offenses of a sexual nature. To the shock of everyone, Lavergne confessed to another murder, one that had remained unsolved for years. In June 1999, a woman named Lisa Pate had vanished without a trace. Lavergne admitted to meeting her in Lafayette and persuading her to leave town with him. It was a nightmarish ordeal, and Pate had made a desperate attempt to escape his clutches. But Lavergne refused to let her go, and police suspect he ended her life by placing a plastic bag over her head, smothering her. Although her body was discovered in September 1999, no one had been charged for the crime until Lavergne's shocking admission.
He admitted to killing Mickey Shunick and also killing Lisa Pate. It was just very emotional.
In the end, justice was served. Lavergne received 2 life sentences in solitary confinement for the heinous acts he had committed. One for taking the life of Mickey Shunick, and another for Lisa Pate's murder. While he pleaded guilty to both crimes, he persistently claimed that he had received a cruel and unusual sentence. In a bid to draw attention to his case, He resorted to drastic measures, including a brief hunger strike and an audacious escape attempt, though the latter was unsuccessful. In 2019, it was ruled that he could no longer appeal his sentence. While Mickey may no longer be with us, her memory continues to shine brightly. In a touching tribute to her life, the Lafayette City Parish Council decided to create an 8-mile cycling loop that passes by a memorial on the street where she was abducted. This bike loop, primarily for cyclists, stands as a living tribute to her spirit. Additionally, Mickey is remembered through an annual bike ride held in her honor, tracing the route she once traveled and commemorating her vibrant life. If you enjoyed this video, then please show your support for this channel by subscribing to the channel or leaving a comment with your thoughts on this video.